Who was the last player to score 150 points on 60% shooting in the first 4 games of the playoff series? You think you've got this, so go ahead and guess.
Shaq.
I'm going Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay. What is it? Oh, you got it. Sorry, Himbo.
Bam.
Hey, walk that one off. Good job, Coach. Himbo will not recover for a long time.
So disappointed in life.
So sad. And what a way to start off the week, too. I'm sorry, Himbo. It's Monday. Himbo's got a case of the Mondays. All right, J. Will, we've been talking a lot about Kawhi and how well he's played, but you're about to show us why scheme matters in that, too. You've got to make the shots, but you have to have the right scheme to set that up.
Exactly. I think Nick Nurse has done a great job in setting this up and getting switches on Kawhi. Also, Kawhi averaging 38 points, shooting 62% from the field. As you're going to watch this play develop, you're going to see a little DHO right here to get him the ball. Now, this is usually what happens on this situation. You're going to have Marc Gasol. He's going to come up and set this screen. All right? But you usually would have Kyle Lowry maybe fade to the corner. But Kyle Lowry's not going to do that. He's actually going to loop around and come back for a staggered screen. Watch this action to try to get a switch. Screen comes, boom. Then you're going to see Kyle Lowry come for another staggered screen. And watch the way he actually hits Joel Embiid. Now, he's about 6'1", hitting a guy who's 6'10", 6'11", okay? Watch this. Actually hits him, comes off, and now my man right here, Jimmy Butler, is in nowhere land. I mean, he has no idea what to do. He's probably going to try to protect the rim, but Kawhi Leonard, so good. Little step back, boom, knocking out a shot. Once again, getting a switch. Now, as we go on this play, as it develops again, another DHO. It's going to go into a ball screen. Same play. You're going to see him set it up for a ball screen here. Ball screen comes down. Marc Gasol comes, sets a ball screen. Now, Himbo just gave me this great stat. Out of the 24 pick and rolls that they have ran for Kawhi Leonard, Philadelphia only switched 3 of them. We're showing you 2 of the 3 that they switched, okay? This particular situation, he comes off again. Watch Joel Embiid. Now, here's one of the moments I want to stop it. Joel Embiid. This guy is shooting 47% from the three-point line. Your hands cannot be down. You know an old term, Laura, Mark Jackson used to say, hand down, man down?
Yes,
and
man down.
I don't know why we don't give him enough credit. Maybe because his game isn't sexy. It doesn't translate to being put in the same conversations as Kobe Bryant or some of the other great scorers from that wing position or Scottie Pippen. But just it's methodical. That pull-up so fast. Boom, knocks down a big-time shot. Once again, Nick Nurse in the scheme of the system, always involving him in P&Rs, having that guy roll, come back for a stagger screen, making the team switch.
You said earlier on this show, Kawhi Leonard, second best player in the NBA. You firmly believe that. As Toronto tries to make their case to keep him around, and certainly that'll be a big part of the conversation, how much do these schemes and coaching factor into that? Because they are putting him in a good position.
I think that goes a long way. I think team chemistry goes a long way. But let's be realistic about it. Like, you have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. You have to have a chance to win it. Kawhi Leonard has to have a chance to win a world championship in order for him to stay up north. That's the only way I see Kawhi Leonard staying in Toronto. If not, my man's going out west.
All right, Kawhi Leonard, you got to have the scheme to do it, but you also got to be money to knock down those shots. He deserves more credit. We'll be giving it to him on this show. Back to the NFL, Greeny.
Action, as always, of the great Adrian Wojnarowski, who is here with all of the insight that you need. And we start with our game of the night, which was the game of the afternoon, but a very interesting one because for that man, it started in the afternoon, but for that man, it started at 6 o'clock in the morning. Joel Embiid needing an IV at 6 a.m. Second time in this series. He's just not well, and he's just not right. Meanwhile, that guy is just fine. Kawhi Leonard, inside and out.
One of the most efficient players in the game of basketball. The next iteration of Scottie Pippen, but more evolved offensively.
17 points and 10 boards in the first half. Raptors up 2 at the break. Third quarter. Raptors now down 4. And it's Leonard. Where's he going to go? Why go anywhere when you can just do this? Look at the defensive confusion, and Leonard winds up wide open.
A ton of lack of effort on the 76ers' part. There were multiple plays where Kawhi Leonard was wide open for open threes.
Now let's get to the fourth quarter. This was a good game. Tied at 81, and here's Jimmy Butler. He's got the ball. Now Jimmy Butler doesn't have the ball. Now he's flinging it. Oh, and it goes in. Got to call that. Butler beating the buzzer with the bank, and he would score 29. And the Sixers have a 3-point lead. Later, it's still a 3-point Philly lead. Marc Gasol showing you the range. 16 points. We're tied at 84. Under 5 to go. Here's just a moment that is a microscope of Joel Embiid's night. Just ball stripped from him as he just was a step slow all evening long. On the other side, nothing slow about that guy. Kawhi Leonard, yes. Just over 2 minutes to go. We've got the Sixers down by 4. Where are you going to go? Why not go to this guy? Pump fake and a beauty. J.J. Redick. He would score 19. Sixers within 1. A minute and a half to go. Here's the play. This is the moment Embiid always finishes.
And just Joel Embiid is not on top of his game. He should have been a little bit more aggressive, but still, when it comes down to stretch, just Kawhi involving him in a ton of ball screens knocks down a dagger.
And that was the big shot of the game. You saw the shot clock was at 2-1, bang. Kawhi, 13 of 20, 5 of 7 from 3. Look at the fans back in Toronto. He would score 39, and the Raptors even it up, 2 games apiece.
I thought it was going to be tough. I saw the shot clock winding down. He didn't get a great shot for the shots he took tonight. That was one of the tougher ones, right? And he just made a big shot.
And he's been doing that for a long time now in the league. He's done that every game of this series. So, I mean, I don't know what else he could do.
The stuff that he can do to create his own shot is Kobe-like for me.
That's high praise. I mean, Jay Will mentioned Scottie, and Brett Brown is mentioning Kobe. And Kawhi did take a page from the Kobe book. He shot 7 of 8 on jump shots off the dribble, according to Second Spectrum. He's shooting 57% on those shots this postseason, best in the NBA. So there's so much to unpack from this game. Let's start over here by talking about this star. As we watch Kawhi Leonard playing right now, what do we see?
I'm ready to say it, Greeny. He is the second best player in all of basketball. I would have Kevin Durant number 1, Kawhi Leonard number 2, and then LeBron James number 3. Kawhi Leonard, what he's saying, I said he's the next iteration of Scottie Pippen, and he's more evolved offensively. You look at the last 9 games. I mean, in this playoff series alone, he's averaging 38 points, shooting 62% from the field, shooting 46% from the three-point line. And he takes shots at different angles. He's mastered the art of the mid-range game, so he's able to change up the styles in which he's able to play. But just now, let's take away the offensive side. Defensively, all right, Jimmy Butler was 7-11 from the field. He had 19 points at the end of the third quarter. He makes that switch to end the game. Jimmy Butler then goes 2 of 7 from the field with 1 turnover. So defensively, that 8'10 standing reach, that 7'4 wingspan, he's like a condor guarding you defensively, and he's relentless with that pursuit.
He always makes the right play, though. I mean, you talk about all the points, you talk about the defense, talk about how hard he plays. He always makes the right play. We're going to talk about his scoring. How about him and the 2 assists he made in key points of the game where he trusts his teammates? He had a ball screen with Gasol, got in the lane, drew 2. When you draw 2, what happens? Someone's open, he kicks it back to Gasol. Gasol knocked out a big 3. Another play, he got in the lane, got penetration, kicked it out. It was a wide open baseline jumper. There's Gasol's 3 right there, wide open. Now he gets in the lane once again, draws the second defender, makes the right play. He can score it. He can make other guys better. He defends. And I'll tell you where he's great. He gets a defensive rebound. It's 2 points the other end.
He's gone.
He's got 29 points in transition in this series just by rebounding the ball and getting out in transition and making plays.
Another thing
impacts the game.
that you notice about him in an era where players are so demonstrative and the conversation has been so much about the officials and all that kind of stuff. Kawhi Leonard, I don't know if he plays golf or not, but he would be a great golfer. He has exactly that temperament. You can never tell from his face whether his team is winning or losing, whether he's playing well or badly. He's just a guy who puts his head down and plays on every possession. There's something about that that's somewhat refreshing the way the game is played right now.
I think that's a blessing and a curse a little bit. I think you saw the curse aspect of it towards his latter part of his career with San Antonio, what happened there as far as communicating his feelings about the team. But still, as a player, man, he is the second best player in the game of basketball right now. You can say, how many players can you actually say this to, Greeny? Go guard the other team's best player. Don't be relentless all the time. Don't less up on that. And still give me 38 a night. You can't say that to a lot of people. Maybe, what, LeBron James and him?
Shoots the 3, has a middle game, rebounds, defends. And by the way, it was a mini tiger because when he made the big 3 that finished him off, he gave it a little mini fist bump. It was a mini fist bump. It wasn't a full fist bump. It's kind of a mini fist bump.
For him, that was extraordinarily demonstrative. All right, so there's really 2 storylines going on at the same time with Kawhi because there's the short-term future. They may win a championship. Then there's his long-term future. Laura, talk more about that.
Yeah, we've got Woj here with us all morning, so that means I'm going to give a big demonstrative fist pump for the rest of the morning. But we're talking about it here, and you heard Jay Will saying that Kawhi is the second best player in the NBA. The series is tied 2-2 right now. Do you think that affects at all which teams are front runners for Kawhi's services going forward?
Listen, it only helps Toronto's case that they keep winning in advance. Listen, Toronto knew this when they traded for Kawhi Leonard last summer, that it was going to take the whole year to recruit him. It is hard to get to know him. It is hard to build trust with him. And they were going to need every single day until July 1 to do that. The Clippers have remained in a strong position, and you've seen the Clippers build an organization and a team to try to appeal to Kawhi Leonard, do more, say less, hard-playing role players. They've got an elite coach in Doc Rivers, and Southern California is home for him. I think that's where his focus is going to be heading in July, staying in Toronto or going back to California with the Clippers.
So it really looks like this is probably a two-team race, and that makes a lot of sense. But you do think he takes some other meetings, right?
I do. I think teams like New York, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, teams who potentially have, significant cap space, he may take meetings with them. But I think by the time you get to July 1, typically players have a really strong idea about where they're going to go. Right. And usually their eyes are not getting opened in a 1-2 hour meeting with a team that they haven't given great consideration to. I think this is Clippers and Raptors. Of course, the Raptors can pay him more. They could pay him a $200 million plus deal if he wants to stay in Toronto.
Be fascinating to watch that. Let's switch sides here a little bit. Joel Embiid, of course, you were there last night. He was reportedly sick ahead of last night's game and only made 2 shots last night after the game. It was a topic of discussion. We start with Brett Brown right here.
I got a text from him at 6:20 a.m. this morning telling me like he didn't sleep all night. He'd really never felt this poorly, and he was unsure, Coach, if I'm going to play. I just want to give you a heads up. I'll try, but I don't know. And, with that started my day.
Yeah, he's got to be ready and expecting that. Obviously, he's feeling a little sick today, so that plays into it too. Practice tomorrow. Get ready for the next game.
Okay, I thought Simmons' sound was particularly telling there. What do you take away from what we just heard from both of them about Embiid?
I don't know if I read that much into it. Listen, this is a player who, when he is on the top of his game, is as dominant of a force on both ends of the floor as there is in this league. And you see them when he plays well, they have beaten Toronto yesterday. When he doesn't play well, when he's limited, it still took Toronto to play great down the stretch. Kawhi to hit a big shot to beat them at home. But they need him. This becomes a 2 out of 3 series now. And the way he impacts, especially defensively, around the rim, you've seen the impact he's had in this series. Turned the ball over late yesterday down the stretch. Clearly ran out of gas in the fourth quarter with his illness.
And look, he's dealing with the illness. He's dealing with injury always. It seems to be the common story with Joel Embiid, but he is the crown jewel of the process, Greeny. So what do you guys think about Embiid's performance and the sickness that he's been dealing with?
Well, yeah, and I'm sitting here smiling because it's just every game in the NBA playoffs is a referendum on everything. On Friday morning, we were debating Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson's argument over whether or not Joel Embiid should be considered with the greatest big man of all time.
That was a ridiculous conversation, though.
It wasn't a ridiculous conversation. It was an interesting conversation. This morning, it feels like a ridiculous conversation. You were right, because now we're talking about this. What do we make of this now?
Joel Embiid is a generational talent, but I don't think he has the maturity that you need of a guy that's going to win you a championship right now. There's obviously a lack of maturity. You saw that in game 1. I don't know if I can go or not. Let me ask you, anybody here a question? You're a competitor.
Yeah.
Seth, you're a competitor. You guys have been coaches too, Seth. You've been a coach. If I were to text my head coach at 6 a.m. on the day of game 4 of the playoffs, and we're trying to win a championship, to say, I am unsure if I can go or not, Coach. I would never think about doing that. I want to win a championship. I'm going to play this game sick. Now, you can say, let's compare that to Jordan. No, any competitor would try to play this game sick, and I wouldn't report on myself. It also lets me know something that Brett Brown, the head coach, then had a need to come out and tell the media what actually occurred. It lets me know that they're not on the same page. Because I tell you what, if I drop 35 in that game, even if I am sick, Greeny, I'm not going to tell people I'm sick. I'm going to let my legend live on. I'm going to let other people tell the media that I was sick for me.
To me, it was mind-boggling. Joel, when I say it's ridiculous, I say it's ridiculous because Joel Embiid has had times where he's looked like one of the best players potentially in the country. He's done it for a year and a half. Half of the time he's sick, half of the time he's hurt. There's always something with Joel Embiid. Now, his talent, undeniable. When he's playing hard, when he's committed, I got a bigger problem. If you're going to play, then play. Forget about the excuses, kind of what you're saying. If you're going to play, then, dude, you got to play. But the other thing is, if you're going to play, then use him. It's great he can make a 3. It's great he can drive it from the high post. Will you please get him to the left block or in the mid post, throw him the basketball there, and play off a double team? Because that's where he can dominate the game. The three-point line, yeah, he can make a shot. He can drive it. He can dominate the game on the defensive end. He can dominate the game on the block. It blows my mind they don't get him there.
And this team also seems a little bit fractured, right? Like, who's in a boat with who? Is Jimmy Butler with Joel Embiid? Ben Simmons and obviously Joel Embiid. It seems like they make little slights at each other here and there. Ben Simmons on the island.